Radical.
Yeah, I could probably spend about half an hour talking about everything that I've heard about Secret Invasion that just makes no sense and is completely, utterly, utterly fucking stupid. But I'll focus on couple things. Now, Disney Plus, past couple years, they've been streaming some of their superhero shows like Loki, WandaVision. Started out, pretty solid. I mean, I saw a couple of those shows at a friend's house. I don't have Disney Plus. But now we have Secret Invasion, which adapted the Skrulls. I never read about the Skrulls in Marvel Comics, but apparently they're shapeshifters, and then there's Super Skrulls. And Secret Invasion was a story around how. I mean, I can't tell you the full story, but basically, story around the Skrulls and how they can blend in and be anybody. I think it's the lowest rated MCU show ever, I believe. And after reading everything about this missed opportunity, it makes sense how it would be. Secret Invasion sounds absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. I mean, it has the makings of something that could be really interesting. I mean, you tell me you have a spy thriller, kind of like, um, what was it, Captain America and Winter Soldier, that had Nick Fury in it. That was a great movie. It was a great movie. You take Samuel Jackson playing Nick Fury. I love his portrayal in Nick Fury. And you make a spy thriller around the Skrulls. I don't know much about the Skrulls. Basically, they can shapeshift. They can actually, take on the form of, like, one of them is Rodney, who was actually a Skrull since Endgame. A lot of this doesn't make sense. I don't know. My head hurts thinking about everything that I'm seeing here that's fucked up about Secret Invasion. If you follow the MCU, apparently they have Rodney, War Machine, who is a Skrull. And he's been a Skrull since Endgame. So that touching moment with him and Tony Stark when he's passing away, he was a Skrull during that. So maybe they didn't think about this or even care. They're just continuing going forward, just needing to shovel something on to Disney Plus. I'm not even going to get into how stupid that is. But you have all the makings of something really awesome. And how do you fuck up Samuel L. Jackson playing a badass as Nick Fury? Well, same way that Disney fucks up all these older badasses like Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, Indiana Jones recently. They fucked up that old badass. I call them just old badasses, like legacy old badasses, man. They fuck it up. They make them weak. They make them stupid. They make them do stupid things. I've seen lots of footage of Samuel Jackson just like seeming belabored, looking just like pathetic, looking like an elderly person, looking for his hearing aid or something. The show apparently talks about how he's very old and how he's lost his step and everything. It's just disrespectful. It is to Nick Fury, right? I mean, I like to think even a Nick Fury in his 70s could still kick some ass. But no, they just mess up a lot of things in Secret Invasion. They have a lot of missed opportunities because if I'm watching it, part of the enjoyment for me would be trying to figure out who's a Skrull and who's not a Skrull. But in the show, apparently, they just tell you straight up who's a Skrull and who's not. Hey, that's a missed how. Why not? Why not make me wonder and guess who's actually a Skrull and who's actually not a Skrull? At the end, they have the big fight scene. Just to give spoilers away from what I've seen, they have this chick that was named in Game of Thrones. Her name is Gaia, and she takes on the Skrull who's angry. He's angry. He wants to start World War III just because Nick Fury made him a promise about having a homeworld for him for 2 years and then he couldn't find a place. And just the motivation is really weird. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense from what I'm reading here. But the ending has him getting beat by this little 4-foot midget woman that was on the Game of Thrones. And she's a strong woman, and she has the powers of Drax, and she has basically all the powers. And in MCU canon, I guess she's technically the most powerful being ever. I don't know, one of the most powerful beings. But she earns it because she's a female. So we have these themes that we see. Old legacy characters used to be badasses, toned down or made stupid, and then the Force being female, whether it be Star Wars or MCU, the strongest characters being female. Got to make sure that happens. I know I'm going to forget a lot about what makes this show just stupid and ignorant. There's a contradiction. Nick Fury actually says, because you're wondering, like, with all this stuff happening in the Skrulls, why not just make a call to those Avengers? How about calling the Avengers? How about that, Or what's left of the Avengers without Captain America and Iron Man being dead and Thor being wherever. I guess he's still available. The actor's not. But just call the Avengers, right? He says that we just can't go calling those superheroes every time something happens. But then he reveals that he has scraped up all the DNA. Sexy. Scraped up the DNA from the battlefield of Endgame. So this weirdo is holding on to all that DNA, and later on it helps the one Skrull become a super Skrull or something. So many things about Secret Invasion just really do not make sense. And really, honestly, that thing that I saw Samuel Jackson making out with in the end of it, I couldn't find a picture here. The way the Skrulls look in this show, specifically, oh, by the way, Samuel Jackson, his character Nick Fury, is dating a Skrull. And the way she looks, she looks like hideous. Kind of like a Halloween costume your kid made that just didn't turn out right. Like a Saturday morning cartoon from the 80s or something. This thing looks hideous. It looks like something on Sesame Street. I don't know who the fuck was responsible for making that thing look the way it did, but you make Nick Fury look like a clown, tonguing and making out with that hideous looking thing. I mean, you could make the Skrulls and not make them look hideously weird like they made them. Like, the Skrulls, you could actually just maybe, if I remember from the comic, of course they're green, but they look like humans except for the pointy ears and saggy looking dangles, folds, couple skin folds. But the way it just looks terrible. All of it looks terrible. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. It's this thing. What's the idea for 2023 when it comes to Disney? Is to just release crap and, shit on the legacy male characters? Is that pretty much what it is? I mean, Nick Fury, supposedly, like I said, badass character played by Samuel Jackson. You could do it where he's like older, but he's still badass. But I've seen clips where he's just like lumbering around and he just sits down and he's grabbing his head like, oh, like he's having a heat stroke or something. Come on now. Fans of the MCU, I'm not even going to say I'm a current fan of the MCU. As a person that loved early MCU, You had Iron Man, you had Captain America, man, you had the Avengers. I mean, it's sad to see what we're left with right now. And Secret Invasion is the latest example of, them just shitting something out on the streaming service. I mean, I didn't really care to see She-Hulk twerking, and I don't care to see this. You had the big old fight at the end, and it's just like some 4-foot midget chick, and she's super powerful. Meanwhile, you got Samuel L. Jackson. And I think he's like a drunk in this. He's drinking and then going around, and other people making fun of him for not being a super spy. And apparently, the Skrulls actually gave him a lot of information through the years. So it basically just assassinates Nick's character. And at the end, he just kind of goes off and he just, I don't know what he does. I don't care. I really don't. I mean, there's a problem, Disney. When people like me, who would religiously go to see the new MCU movie, when people like me just don't give two shits, I'm not even getting your streaming service to see this. I'm not going to see the latest MCU movie when I don't give a shit. I mean, I should have went to see the Spider-Man movie. I heard that was good. But outside like something huge like Spider-Man, people used to actually go out to see the lesser MCU movies because they were good and they were leading to something. Disney, oh my goodness. Is it any wonder that there's so many people that are talking about Disney being terrible right now and backing it up with facts compared to what they used to be? One last thing, I just don't understand the business sense of Disney right now, unless you just want to deep six their company. Because you have Disney itself with the Snow White shit, the original fans of your Disney princess movies, to hell with them. You have basically the Indiana Jones. You ruined Indiana Jones. To hell with the Indiana Jones fans. Star Wars. You basically keep fucking up Star Wars and doing what you did to the character of Luke Skywalker. So, big middle finger to them. And now when it comes to the MCU, you have great characters like Nick Fury. That was just amazing. Oh, yeah. I was delaying ending this because I wanted to just focus on this one point from one movie compared to where we are a decade later. And the Captain America movie, Nick Fury, who is just a human, is being chased by the Winter Soldier. And I think there might be a situation to where he gets into something with some cops on the road also. I can't remember the exact... Everything happens. I need to watch that scene again. But the scene is so damn amazing. It leads to Nick Fury actually being a little bit injured, but he dissolves the bottom part of his vehicle and he escapes, underground. It was just so fucking badass. And in that moment, you're like, damn, if you're actually just a regular person in this world of superheroes, that's what you would have to do. I mean, yeah, like he escaped, he ran away, but it was just the whole setup was just fucking badass. How do you take that character and turn him into whatever the hell that we're seeing in Secret Invasion? So Disney has this way, and this is just 10 years ago, of saying, if you're a fan of Luke Skywalker, Indiana Jones, or even Nick Fury, to a lesser extent, fuck you, we're going to ruin your older male character. And then we're going to have these little 4-foot midgets jumping around. Oh, yeah. There's this one part where this little 4-foot midget, she flexes her arm. So cringe, so fucking cringe. I'll probably put that as a thumbnail for this. She flexes her arm just like she's a big man. I'm Drax. Like, basically, you know what? Doesn't matter. I'm taking this big male arm. There you go. There you fucking go. So, Basically, that's how it goes right now. It's just all of it, all of it. Like I said, makes my head hurt, and I can't figure out for the life of me unless Disney is Bob Iger is trying to deep six everything this year. It's just trail of diarrhea shit after trail of diarrhea shit across all of Disney. Everything they own, it seems like.